Shabbat Shalom, and welcome. Welcome to 5 Minutes of Torah with a BI Rabbi. This coming Tuesday night, there's going to be an exciting and fascinating election taking place in our neighbor to the south, the United States. This is an election that has been divisive and unfortunately often painful over the course of the last couple months and even years, in which the two candidates have not seen each other as partners towards building a better United States, but actually seen each other as their enemy, which is very unfortunate. I know that we are all hoping for a United States that has good leadership, and, of course, a United States that can be a leader among the world. Many people ask, how is it that a country with over 300 million people can't seem to find a candidate for the Democrats and a candidate for the Republicans that don't come with so much baggage and so much issues? How is it that they weren't able to find at least two people that could be a great president and ultimately a great leader for the world? I have to say that from a Jewish historical perspective, this isn't something new. We understand that problems of finding good leadership dates back thousands of years. We even see that in this week's Torah portion, in Parshat Noach. In the beginning of this week's Torah portion, Parshat Noach, the world is in a state of Hamas, in a state of violence. And it tells us that Noach was an Ish Sadik Tamim Haya B'Doratav, that he was an individual, he was a person who was righteous and who was upright in his generation. Rashi, based on earlier commentary from the Talmud, says that we can understand this line in one of two different ways. We can understand it that had Noach lived in a different generation, one in which the generation was better and more righteous, then Noach would have himself been a more righteous individual. It was surprising that he was as righteous as he was, considering the fact that he didn't have followers who wanted to be righteous as he was. On the other hand, Rashi says, we can understand this from a different perspective. In other words, Noach was only considered righteous and upright because no one else in his generation was considered to be that good. And had he lived in a different generation, there certainly would have been leaders who would have been better than Noach and who would have been considered far more righteous than he was. We know that the world often has challenges finding good leaders, and maybe it's not that we can find one good leader among a few 100 million, but rather we can find one good leader among a few 100 billion. Maybe that's actually the challenge of the world, but that's what we need today. We need leadership in this world to step out and to really show that they are righteous and that they care not about themselves, but they care about the world. And we need people who are going to follow, who want to make this world a better place. I also think about the end of this week's Torah portion. We need not only more unity in the United States, but more unity in the world. But is unity always a good thing? At the end of this week's Torah portion, the people of the world, of the rebuilt world, come together in order to try to build a tower. They find unity among themselves, but they're building the tower according to the Torah in order to reach heaven, in order to give themselves a Shem, in order to give themselves a name, a reputation. And that reputation isn't necessarily so good, because God actually comes down from heaven and destroys the tower. We need leadership that gives us unity so that we can make this world a better place. And that's what I hope is the outcome of this next coming week's election, not only for the United States, but for us here in Canada and around the world. And I want to encourage you to join me on Wednesday afternoon at 12 p.m. for my next Lunch and Learn, in which I discuss the day after the U.S. election from a Jewish perspective. Shabbat Shalom.